Is Autocrit the best editing platform? We're going to find out. Right, it is time for the Autocrit demo. Okay, so I'm really excited to show you guys this today. This shouldn't take very long, but I just want to show you a few of the features. Okay. Okay, so let's just start with the menu views. Okay, so this is the top menu, and these are basically all of the functions that you can use to analyze your document, your manuscript. So it provides first, it provides a summary report. So, what is your as is state of your document, of your manuscript, right? And then you can from there go to improve your document, which you'll see in a minute. Um, you can go through and improve the pacing, sentence variation. Are all your sentences like all the same length and all, back to back to back to back, all the same length? If you don't vary your sentences, it's really going to sound kind of boring. So this is kind of what that um, this is part of what gets analyzed here. Your dialogue, okay? Um, Dialogue tags. Oh my gosh. There's schools of thought that say you shouldn't use, like, you should only use said, right? Because said kind of fades into the background. And that you shouldn't use, like, a bunch of adverbs in your dialogue. So this checks for that. Okay. Strong writing. So, you know, all the elements that of strong writing. Do you use too many adverbs? That's not strong writing. So, passive voice, you should write in active voice. Tense consistency, you shouldn't have past tense then present tense then future tense. Showing versus telling, you shouldn't have that. uh you shouldn't uh tell, you should show, right? Cliches, redundancies, unnecessary filler words, the, very, really, things like that. Word choice. Um, Again, we're looking at, initial pronouns and names. People break that all the time. I know I do. POV consistency, though, that's a critical one, right? Especially when you have alternating POVs, or when, for instance, like me, I started out in third person and I changed to first person, or start out in first person and I change it to third person. It can help you catch stuff like that within the same chapter, right? So that's beautiful. Generic descriptions, homonyms, personal words, favorites. This is where you can add your own stuff, where you have issues, that you use certain words too many times, and that you can put your own stuff in there, and it will allow you to, it will catch it for you. So if you have problems with certain words, it'll catch that stuff for you. Power words, I think we all know what that is. Repetition. Oh my God, I have this issue. This is like one of my big issues, right? Is repeated words, repeated phrases, word frequency, phrase frequency. Using things too frequently within the same chapter. This is one of my biggest hiccups, right? Things that I don't even notice when I look at it myself, but when I see it pointed out to me in color with AutoCrit, it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm guilty. Um, so, yeah, this is that's one of those things that it'll catch. The combination. This is the report I use 100% of the time that I use AutoCrit, and I will show you how this works in a minute. But Auto Report catches um, two or three things at one time in one report, and it's pretty fast. Okay. Readability, whether this can be read by a fourth grader or a fifth grader or a 12th grader, whether this is doctorate level writing. Okay, so this will be especially useful for people that like students, right? So you'll know, especially if you're, like I said, in PhD level courses and your stuff has to, if you and your papers have to read a certain way, and if it reads like second or third grade and you're in a doctorate level course, you probably got to step it up a little bit, so things like that will help you. And of course, the grammar check, so spelling and grammar, so it'll catch that stuff for you. So you can run any number of these, or you can run them all and drive yourself absolutely nuts. If I only run one, I always run the combination report. And like I said, I'll show that to you in a minute. So up here, let me just show you that this is where you can compare your text to different genres, right? So for me, like I said, most of what I write is romance. But you can choose genres. You can go by fiction or nonfiction, or you can pick specific authors. So if you are comparing your work to a specific author, for instance, if I was writing a Christmas book, maybe I would want to pick Debbie Macomber, right? So, or Sheila Roberts, right? Because they write the big, the big stuff that Hallmark buys, right? Their novels are always picked up by Hallmark. And I write Hallmarkish kind of romances, especially when it comes to Christmas romance. So those would be ones that I would want to do. Beverly Jenkins is one of my favorite authors, and she's my sorority sister. Just shout that out. Brenda Jackson. This is actually kind of impressive that they have them in here. Dan Brown, Dan Kennedy, I mean, they've got a pretty, look, Daniel Silva. So like if I was doing one of my spy novels, I would probably want to use, Daniel Silva. But anyway, so here's Debbie Macomber, like I was just telling you guys. So there is a selection of people, and you can pick who you want your text to be compared to, so that you'll know if you're kind of aligning with the norm, or if you're kind of if you're not, right? And not aligning with the norm is not necessarily a bad thing, but it just tells you how you compare, so you just have to keep that in mind. So anyway, I'm keeping romance there for mine. Okay, and then here's the other menu, right? So of course, save, upload new, and I'll show you that in a second. Clear text, thesaurus, like if you need a thesaurus, it's got it here. A text reader, this is awesome. So I am a big advocate of like hearing your text out loud. Now normally I use my iPad Pro or iPad for this feature, but it's cool that they have it here. That's really critical. And these are some font formatting features, right? And this allows you to jump from chapter to chapter, and you'll see. Well, I actually won't, I don't have a full manuscript that I'm uploading here, but this is cool because it does break out your work chapter by chapter, and it allows you to jump chapters if you're doing an entire manuscript, right? And then, of course, you can share your work or whatever you're doing on Facebook. And down here is your account stuff, right? So the thing I wanted to show you guys, membership, see me, I am a lifer, and I got this like 100,000 years ago. So anyway, so I do have a lifetime, but your status would be there. So if you're getting the annual or if you're getting the monthly, it's very easy to check what your status is right there. Okay. All right. So I'm going to do a quick analysis to show you. I'm not going to do the, all of them. I'm going to do the one that I use, but I want to show you how easy this is to use. Okay, so upload a file. You can use sample text. You can open a file, or you can upload new text, right? So what I'm going to do is just upload. And so it says, do you want to clear your open text? Remember to say first, yes, I want to clear, because I was just doing a bunch of test stuff. So, so let me show you. Oops, sorry. That's a romance that I have. It's a free romance that I have on my site for people who visit the site and want a free book. So I've attached it. You see it's acquired for Autocrit, and it's just the first chapter. And so we'll see what happens. So I attached it. Now I'm hitting submit, and boom, my chapter comes in. Okay. Now, if you go to the summary page and you run a summary report, you kind of see your as-is state. All right, so we see the as-is state. My overall score, and I did not edit this before I put it up here. I got basically a B+, which I consider pretty impressive for me, because Lord knows my first drafts are much worse. So I'm telling you, my first draft could be an F. I could be getting like a 50, but I got an 87, so I consider that not too bad. So here's, they give you the indicators and they tell you kind of what your score is and all of that kind of stuff here. And then they tell you the number of words I have. This is the length of my chapter, which is 2,900 words, and number of uncommon words, number of complex words, the grade level 5 to 6, 6.9 on the grade. So it's kind of going towards 7th grade, which is actually not bad for a romance, right? Because all types of people read romances. Not everybody is necessarily college educated and wants to read the high level stuff. And then it provides your sentence analysis, paragraph analysis, and then how I compared to the genre, right? So all in all, like I showed pretty well. Showing versus telling, I did a pretty good job, right? It's between great and good. Filler words, it was good. Adverbs, great. I know, because that's been hammered into my head. Generic descriptions is good. And then showing versus telling, average. And then filler words, which is average, which I have to say, it's not excess. So I'm good with that. And I don't think this is one I actually ran through here. Or if I did, I ran it through really early and then I made changes. So this would be representative of the fact that, okay, yeah, maybe you run the check and maybe you don't fix everything, because some of it's going to be your voice, right? Now, if your voice is everything's in the red, then you might need to work on your voice, right? But if a chapter comes out and it's your voice and things fall in the black and everything's not perfect, so what? You're in the ballpark. So then they talk about power words, consistency. So you can really look down this whole page and see all of the things they look at. Devin, Damon, Sloan. Yeah, that's the name of my characters, right? So I would expect to see their names pretty frequently. Cruz, Offer, Mr. Copeland. Devin had the Copeland property, source of, this is all in my first chapter. Are you intrigued? If you're intrigued, you can actually go to it's free. And you can go to my website, but that's not what we're here for. Anyway, so that's the summary report, right? So this is your as is. And then presumably, if you take your writing through all of these and you make changes and choices, that At the end of it, you can run your summary report again and your grade should go higher, right? So it's a good way to check to see if you fixed things the right way, if it moved you up or if it moved you back, right? And hopefully, if you fix things in the right way, even staying within your voice, you might not get, I may go from 87 to 91. I may not get 100. That's fine. But did I improve it? That's the question, right? So, like I said, you can check for a variety of things. I will tell you the one report that I run is the combination report every single time. Yeah, I might run some of the other stuff. This is one of those things I run, and this is probably what I run first. Okay, so the combination report. So we're going to run the combination report, and I will show you what it is. So, what the combination report does is it runs over used words, because this is a problem for me, repeated words, um, repeated phrases, right? So again, things like Mr. Copeland, blah blah blah. I mean, this is we're talking about a guy, and I'm using his name. So you're gonna see some stuff that's in there. Is it wrong? Not necessarily wrong. It's just, your style. So if you look over here, you get the combination report, right? This is where you actually want to try and fix things, right? I can tell you when the first time I ran this, it did not look this good, right? So as you can see, generic descriptions, I have 6. I've eliminated most of them, and it's great. For passive indicators, 89, average, excellent, right? And then repeated words, then they give you a list of all the repeated words. So whatever your results are, that is what's going to come here. Again, that's what's going to come in your list. If you have personal words and phrases that you're guilty of using over and over again, it will check for that kind of stuff down here. So these to me are the big things where I have issues. Huge, huge, huge issues. Okay. So again, this is what I run first every time, is just the combination report, which kind of checks for 4 things at once, which is great. Now, what I will say is the next piece, let's say this had a whole bunch of stuff and I had gotten sucky reports across, and it had just a ton of stuff that I needed to fix. Okay. And I will show you there how it, I think in another one I can show you what it looks like when you have to fix something. Okay. But just give me a second. So if I wanted to export this report, right, I would go to export, and then it will allow me to make a bunch of selections. But the one thing you want to select, if you want that color-coded report, is export text with Autocrit highlights. That's critical. There is no need in running the report and then you can't see the colors to see the things that you need to fix. And it color codes things how you need to fix them. So if it's a repeated phrase or if it's an overused word, if you see red, like it's probably, technically speaking, that's the stuff you want to hammer home, right? That you want to quickly fix. So if I got this, I would immediately just go through, look at all the red stuff, and try and fix the red stuff. Okay? And so what you would do is you would just select this, and then you would export it. And, for Mac users, you know what happens. It goes up to here, and you just download it. And you download it as a Word file. And when you open up the Word file, you can see you get the same report, but everything is in a Word file. And then you can go through and fix everything. Okay? So that is it. And so, like, if I wanted to save that, I save that. I put it in my email, and then I can and then I can open that up in my iPad, which is awesome. And I can sit there and use my Apple Pen, and I can mark it up and type in this stuff later. Type in all my changes later. So, so that's that. Now, let's go back. Um, so the good thing is I've run this report, but I can still run others too. So let's see. Adverbs and dialogue. Let's try that. I don't know. I tend to steer away from that stuff. So, oh, see, none found. Because it's been hammered home, don't use adverbs. I don't. um, let's see. Pacing and momentum. Okay. Let's see. Paragraph. Sentence variation. Let's see. So, well, this is neat because what it tells you is some long. So now, if you looked at this and all of your sentences were the same length, you'd have a problem. Like here, I would say is someplace where I probably should look at because these are all like roughly the same length. This goes shorter, shorter, longer. So not too awful. It's pretty good variation there. Okay, so let's look at something else. Let's look at strong writing. And let's look at cliches. I don't know. I tend to stay away from cliches, but I probably have one or two, especially when people are talking. So look, I mean, this is probably more than I would actually want to have. But hey, I can look through this. Yeah, and most of the time, like when I use it, I tend to use them in dialogue because that's the way people speak. So if you can see, a lot of them fall in dialogue, and that's where I tend to use them, right? So those are the kinds of things that I wouldn't necessarily fix because again, when we speak, that is a human tendency to use cliches in dialogue. Now, if I used it a whole bunch in the narrative, then those are things that I definitely would want to fix. Let's look at adverbs. I don't know. Let's see how many adverbs I got in here. I try to steer away from. So okay, this is great. Okay, so exactly and especially. So my count is 2, and they say I need to remove 1 each, right? So this is where you when you get recommendations, and these are the recommendations again that you have to read for yourself and say, are these things that I want to fix, right? Yeah. Are these things that I want to fix, or are these things that I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna leave it as it is. I'm looking at them right now. I'm like, are these things that I'd want to fix? Especially women? No, that's not something I'd want to fix. Especially, I guess I could use particularly or something like that. I have to look at that a little closer. And dialogue, again, is one of those places where I probably, I would cut myself some slack. But look here, my the review is great way to go. So I don't have a lot. It's not bad. Okay, so these are, like I said, things to fix, and this is what happens when you get recommendations. Okay, which is awesome. And so that, I think, really is going to do it for but what I wanted to show you is how easy it is to get your document in here, or your chapter. You don't even have to do it this way. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you another way. Upload new. I say okay. So you can both, you know, oh, you have to do Control V. So you can paste it in there, you know, just copy and paste it. Or, you know, you can attach a whole document, get the same result. Okay. The only thing now, I am not sure. Let's just take a look. Okay, so if I run, let me run the combination report. Okay, and now if I wanted to copy this into a Word file and see if it color codes, let's see. Copy. All right. So yeah, this is how it prints out wonky sometimes, but it can print out this way sometimes. Okay, so that definitely is not the ticket, right? Let's see if I paste and keep source formatting. Yeah, so that's the thing, right? If you try and just like copy and paste this over, it doesn't seem to work well. You really, I think, have to use their export function in order to get the words to copy out right? So I've showed you how to do that. So I think, honestly, I think that's going to do it for my demo today. Thanks everybody for joining today and checking out the Autocrit demo. Okay, I love this tool. I think by now you probably are like, yeah, this is kind of cool too, right? You got to be just a little bit. Like I said, I've been using it for over 10 years. It is unquestionably the one thing that really helps me tighten up my my manuscripts. Without question, it's a great self-editing tool. Again, not meant to replace an editor, right? But meant to allow you to get your manuscripts cleaner so that the job of the editor, they can focus on the higher level work and not focus on the line editing, right? Which is critical if you want to get the most out of your editor, okay? Seriously. If you like this channel, please like and subscribe. Click that notification bell and leave comments down below. Let me know if you like the content. Let me know if you want to see something specific. Again, this is the result of one of the comments, you know. So I do respond and try to do episodes around the comments if you give me something specific that you want to see or talk about. And let me give a special shout out to T-Pain again for the music. You know, if any of you is a streamer and wants music, he has the Pizzle Pack out there on SoundCloud that he is offering out to streamers for to do their shows. So awesome. So thanks, T-Pain. And thank you everybody for showing up today. And I'll see you next time.